Despite being up about 63% over the past year, it has definitely been a rough month for Crocoin as this alt finds itself down about 22%. Now, in today's episode of the Everything Crypto Show, I want to give you guys an update on the price action as I am seeing something very interesting happening here in terms of the movement. And additionally, I do want to talk about what I believe will be the next catalyst to help push this altcoin back to the upside. Now, before we hop into the content, just a friendly reminder that I am not a financial advisor. I am simply here for your crypto news and entertainment purposes. And if you do enjoy the content, please consider hitting that sub and like button and turn that notification bell on so you can be notified when all of our latest videos go live on the channel. So without further ado, we're going to get right into today's altcoin of discussion, and I do want to talk about Crow as it does once again find itself below the key area of support at the 10-cent level, which I do have outlined here with the orange line. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and actually make it a little bit thicker just so you know that this is what we're focusing on right now. And I do want to talk about this because 10 cents is a very important area of support and now resistance for this altcoin. And we did break out of this range later in 2023, and we kind of made another move to the upside here in early 2024. But since then, the price action has been fading, and this altcoin does actually find itself now in about a 40% decline from March of this year. So definitely has been making its way back to the downside. And I kind of want to update you guys on, first of all, something I'm looking at in terms of the price action here, and in terms of a catalyst, rather, that could potentially help turn this around. And secondly, what I am looking at right now on the charts, the key levels that I am looking for. So without further ado, we're going to start with the catalyst, and that's going to be the new Cronos HYPERCHAIN. So this is the Cronos ZK EVM, and I like to call it the Cronos HYPERCHAIN because I think it's a much better description of exactly what they have going on. And this is effectively the layer 2 that they are looking to introduce here into the ecosystem. And they have the light paper, but essentially what they're looking to do is connect the Cronos POS chain, which they are calling the layer 0. If you do actually stake your Crow, odds are it's probably on the Cronos POS chain, as that is where over a third of all the circulating Crow is currently staked at the moment. Did just pass that $10 billion mark. 10 billion Crow mark not too long ago. So they're kind of deeming that the layer 0 where you go to generate your yield, and then the Cronos chain as the layer 1. This is the Ethereum virtual machine chain they launched ironically right at the top of the last bull market. They did launch it in about November of 2021 if memory does serve me correctly. And now what they're looking to do is kind of unify these two blockchains and also build on top of that with their layer 2, which will connect the Ethereum mainnet to other layer 2s and layer 3s. So effectively, this would open up the Cronos ecosystem to all of the liquidity on Ethereum via a bridge, a hyper bridge over here. And, considering that Ether is the biggest blockchain in terms of total value locked, that is definitely a big deal, in my opinion, if this chain is able to see adoption. And there are three big things they are looking to solve with this chain. The first one is the liquidity fragmentation, which we see with a lot of the different layer 1s, layer 2s. And they're looking to use this layer 2 to connect all the liquidity. The third one, complex UX. So they're looking to basically use account abstraction to make transactions and just interacting with blockchain easier on the front end and dealing with a lot of the more complicated stuff on the back end, which I think also aligns with Crypto.com's mission of really trying to make crypto as beginner friendly as possible. Now, the second one, which I say for last because it's the most interesting to me personally, is the native yield bearing assets. So, obviously, if you are familiar with staking, it is a great way to generate that passive yield, but it is not exactly a user friendly experience to actually go ahead and pick a staking pool, stake your coins in there, do your deposits and withdrawals. So what they're looking to do is basically have the coins that are on the layer 2 natively yield bearing assets, meaning by simply transferring your Crow over to the layer 2, it will be generating yield. By simply transferring ETH over to this layer 2, it will be generating yield, and the same thing goes for stable coins. So some big goals they do have with this chain, And I do think that if they're able to execute on this, that it could bring a ton of demand and volume back to Crow itself. And yeah, speaking of Crow, we're gonna just take a look at the chart for the remainder of this video, because I think the price action is the big thing a lot of people are focused on right now. And understandably so, considering it has definitely been pretty lackluster as of late. I mean, we know the altcoin market as a whole has kind of been making its way to the downside here, but Crow has broken down some pretty key levels. So I kind of want to talk about this. And, you know, prior to this move here, right, like if we just draw a line, I would say even right here, right, like prior to this move right here, if we just look at this part only, what we saw Crow do was bounce off of the 5-cent area of support, go on a nice 140% rally from 5 cents up to about 12.5 cents. Then from there, the coin did pull back about 35%. However, it bounced off of its bull market support band, okay? And then what we saw here was what I believed to be a very similar pattern where Crow went on another 140% move, give or take. Was kind of fading off, and it did decline from those levels about 35%. However, the difference here is, unlike this time, Crow actually did break below the bull market support band. It did not bounce off of it as a level of support as we did see back over here. And I wouldn't attribute this necessarily to weakness in Crow itself. The altcoin market as a whole has been pretty weak, generally speaking, over the past month. If we take a look at crypto bubbles, and then if we take a look at the monthly bubbles, you're going to notice that, you know, Crow is definitely not alone in the subpar price action. So I don't think, you know, right off the bat, I don't think it's like a Crow specific issue. I think, though, that obviously, given the fact that we were basically trading in this lower range for quite a while, finally broke above it, and now we are back in it, definitely can be frustrating. And that I do understand. So now I kind of want to talk about exactly what I am looking for next when it comes to this altcoin, as we have broken down below 10 cents. So taking a look at the chart now, and where exactly do I think Crow is going next? Well, I do want to actually look at it on a log scale to kind of make it easier to understand why this 10-cent area is so important, okay? You can actually see here that 10 cents acted as the last level of support before this altcoin went on that run that, you know, if you were around for the previous bull market, you probably remember it. This thing rallied about 830% from June to November. And this was off the back of the Crypto.com stadium for the Staples Arena actually changing. And yeah, right around here, it did top out at the same time that the rest of the market did. Now here in the bear market, you know, we had already seen Crow decline from those highs of 96 cents down to 10 cents. So about a 90% decline, holding the line at the 10-cent level. And then we saw the FTX collapse. We saw a lot of FUD directed at Crypto.com. And yeah, this coin once again, you know, fell like another 50% from there, from 12 cents, give or take, down to the 5-cent range. Now, if you've been with the channel for a while, you know we were talking about this 5-cent range as a pretty, you know, key area of support, and I did believe the coin to be undervalued at these levels based on the fact that this drop really was based on unsubstantiated claims that Crypto.com was going to go insolvent, bankrupt. None of that ended up being true, and I did see a nice bounce from there. However, this range is now back in play. So if we zoom in back on this range, I didn't have this drawn out on the chart because I kind of figured these were the key areas, but now that we are revisiting, okay, the one thing that I'm looking at is the 7.5 cent area, and the reason being is, I mean, you can see here on the weekly, this acted as, you know, resistance a lot for this coin before it actually did make its way back above it. If we take a look right here, I mean, look at how much price action there is at this levels, getting rejected multiple times, falling back down to 5 cents, and then boom, finally actually making that big breakout above it. So I do think that this coin could be headed back to 7.5 cents. You know, you can also see here, if I go ahead and get the pointer, that this is actually where the coin found some support here on the bounce off the bull market support band. So personally, I am looking for 7.5 cents next when it comes to Crow coin, assuming that the altcoin market does continue to make its way to the downside. And to the upside, I am looking for a breakout above that 10-cent level. And that's really all I wanted to talk to you guys about in today's video. I mean, there's a lot of news in the crypto market constantly, and I do like to cover the news. However, I know that a lot of people are focused on the price action right now, given how underwhelming it has been. And so I did just kind of want to make a dedicated video talking about this and letting you know where I believe this altcoin could be headed next. But I want to know what you think about CRO in the comments down below. Are you bullish? Are you bearish? Buying, selling, or holding? Let me know what you are thinking about this altcoin. And on that note, I hope you did enjoy the content in today's video. I hope you are all staying happy, safe, and healthy. And I hope to catch you in the next one. Peace out for now.